Hello, all. We are again back with our fourth episode of Career Broadcast Series, and today we have a special guest with us, Dr. Mukarram Beg sir. Sir has completed his PhD from RGIPT, and he's currently working as assistant professor at Chandigarh University. Sir has many research papers under his name, and he has a valuable experience in research field in drilling fluids and rheology. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of SPE, and it's really grateful to have you with us here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chandan, and it's great to be on this platform to share my experiences with the fellow juniors at RGIPT, and I'll try my best to explain the queries that you might have and the questions for uh, for the benefit of the students at RGIPT.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir, we'll move ahead with the first question. So, sir, please tell us about your experience while pursuing PhD at RJPT. Like, what were the challenges that you faced and what were the opportunities that you got there?
Okay, so to sum it up, the experience at RGIPT was exciting. I really enjoyed my stay at RGIPT, and obviously at the starting there were few challenges like it was start RGIPT started in 2008, and when I joined in 2016, so undergraduate program was fully developed, and it was full fledged, having all the facilities. But on research front, there were few challenges, like we did not have many high-end research facilities such as scanning electron microscopy, XRD, and many other research equipment, which are costly, and they take time to be purchased and installed. And moreover, we were also planning to shift to the main campus, which is now at Chais.
Yes, sir.
Previously, it was in Raebareli. So, in the starting, we did not have such facilities, and we needed to go to other research institutes such as IIT Kanpur or CDRI Lucknow or any other institute for the characterizations or sample testing for the research purpose was done there. So this was a huge task because it takes a lot of time. Like if you have same facility in your own campus, then it will be taking 1 or 2 days maximum, and it will be done depending on the crowd. Or but in other institutes, it usually took around 1 month or more than that sometimes. So due to these factors, there was delayed research work. And another thing which I faced personally, and that can be common for many scholars, that you might be working on the topics that you have never studied in so much detail during your undergraduation or post graduation. So this was the case for me also, because I had to work on the chemical synthesis, like performing the reactions in the laboratory and then extracting, like purification of the product, and then we needed to use that product after the characterization, like determining what we have developed by the chemical reaction. So this was a new task for me, and it was a huge challenge because I had to learn from the scratch. I did never worked in such a field because I was doing BTech and I'm taking petrochemical engineering and petroleum engineering related field, and chemistry was not much of the part, especially the experimental chemistry. And next, a minor issue was that I was the first PhD student under my supervisor, Dr. Shivanjali Sharma ma'am. So there was no senior in the lab to lend a helping hand to me. But it was not such a big deal. But certainly, having seniors in your lab that you are joining, it becomes easy, which I have heard from many of my friends and colleagues. Okay, so these were the few challenges, but the support which I got was excellent at the RGIPT to tackle these issues. I got to learn those chemistry related subjects or practices in the lab from my seniors Ujjal sir and Shama ma'am and many other seniors at RGIPT who were doing PhD and were senior to me. So they offered their help, and institute also supported with funding for the characterization work to be done at IIT Kanpur or CDRI Lucknow, etc. So institute support was also excellent financially, as well as the lab environment became much easier when my supervisor, Dr. Shivanjali Sharma, worked really hard to help me with the dual role of a PhD guide as well as being a senior scholar in the lab. So everything worked out perfectly at the end, and I also got the support of head of the department of petroleum engineering, uh, who has always been supportive with the research scholars in our department, and he was also instrumental in providing me a financial support for a conference which was held in Abu Dhabi. So, what was the next part of this question? I think
Yes, sir. It's
oppor-
completed. Uh,
opportunities. Okay,
yes, sir. What are the
so
opportunities that you got?
the opportunity which I got there,
Yes, sir.
it was really exciting, like getting into a PhD program, which is fully funded, and also you are getting a stipend, and especially PhD topic is of your choice, is an excellent opportunity in itself. The next, I got to work in upstream petroleum engineering, which I have always been planning since my undergraduate days. So I worked on drilling fluids, which involved a lot of chemistry also. And I loved chemistry since plus 2 days, and I have always been fascinated by the polymers and polymer chemistry. Like they are magical materials. You know, polymers are really special materials, and their properties can be modified
Yes.
or customized by just performing some chemical reactions. So I wanted to work in upstream petroleum engineering. I wanted to work in chemistry, and I got this combination in my PhD topic. So it is like it is also worth mentioning that I got my first job after post graduation to work as a research and development engineer in a plastic compounding company. So that industrial experience also came handy when I started my work in PhD. And I also got to learn many new research techniques, such as the use of various softwares, and I got to understand how various high-end sophisticated instruments work. In fact, I operated many of those sophisticated instruments, and especially chemistry-related experimental work uh, was very interesting. And this was totally new for me. And also got to present my work at Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference, which is ADIPEC, and
Yes.
renowned conference organized by Society of Petroleum Engineers.
Yes.
I presented my work there, and I also got to meet and network with various petroleum engineering professionals across the globe during that event in 2019, and it happened to be the last event in any conference because after then the pandemic broke out, and still we are waiting for the world to function normally again and be the part of various upcoming conferences in offline mode. So I was also the best opportunity I got that I received international travel support and young scientists by the government of India, which was to cover the conference expenses worth more than 100,000 INR or 1 lakh rupees. So this was just the icing on the cake during that conference because the funding or not just participating in that event was huge.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I have spoken enough. Next.
Sir, that was a really great experience. I was really motivated by your experience. And sir, according to you, what are the current hot research topics in this oil and gas sector?
Okay, so this is a tricky question. Actually, you need to understand your own research interest on what you want to work on. If you are more interested into programming and simulation, or you want to do hardcore laboratory research work, so this is the first thing. But going according to the trend, uh, as you know, everybody is talking about climate change and ban of petroleum and everything. So people are talking about energy transition, which is important but not possible at the moment, in my view.
Yes.
So, in the era of decarbonization and energy transition, the oil and gas industry is key for the primary energy sources required for global sustainability and operation. Oil and gas accounts for more than 55% of the total energy required across the world. So it's huge because electricity contributes less than 8 or 7%. Nuclear energy contributes to about 5%, whereas this oil and gas, excluding the coal. Okay, if we talk about fossil fuels, it contributes about 70% of the total energy, which is uh, required across the globe annually. Okay, and this trend has been maintained since last 3 to 4 decades. I've seen the data in energy International Energy Agency reports that uh, we continuously using more than 55% of oil and gas for primary energy sources. And it is also projected to increase by volume by approximately 1% per annum till 2040 across the globe. Okay, so that means we are going to need more and more oil and gas in upcoming years, despite of the small reduction in the percentage. Like maybe we are currently using 55%, and in upcoming years, so we might be trying to get it reduced to 52%, 50%, or maybe 49%, which will be a huge challenge in nearby time. Okay, like within a decade, even if we can reduce it below 50%, then also it will be a great achievement. But oil and gas is going to play a huge role for several decades to come. So doing research on petroleum engineering is obvious. So it is imminent that we'll need better techniques, first for producing oil and gas effectively, and second, even better innovations to control the pollution caused by oil and gas consumption. Climate and environment are no doubt very important, but so is the importance of energy. Without energy, we cannot sustain. So that will be fulfilled by oil and gas, but we'll need better techniques to control the pollution, which will be caused by the application and usage of these oil and gas products. Okay, like everybody knows about the as a petroleum engineer, everybody knows about the different types of Bharat standard fuels. Like earlier, we used to have Bharat standard 4, then BS5 came, and now we are using BS6, which is basically having less pollutants in the uh, oil and gas we use as a petroleum product, like diesel, petrol. Okay, so as for the uh, interesting topics considering the current scenario, I would say that in petroleum engineering, we can think about cost-effective drilling systems. It's a very interesting topic because minimizing the cost will reduce the fuel cost overall, and we'll have cheaper fuels at our disposal. And then the obvious thing is that digitalization and automation in petroleum industry. We are currently going through the transition phase in the petroleum industry. Earlier, it used to be mechanical, completely mechanical. Then electronic equipments became part of it, and it became electrical plus mechanical system across the petroleum industry. Now we are moving towards digitalization of petroleum industry, fully automated uh, plants and operations in the petroleum industry. So this is a very interesting field. And then we have obviously carbon capture and utilization and storage. So you might have heard about the announcement by Elon Musk that he'll be giving 100 million US dollar for conducting the best research in carbon capture and utilization and storage.
Yes.
So it is an interesting topic. And next is application of artificial intelligence and machine learning in petroleum engineering operations. And one more important thing is to consider the well bore stability, because when we drill petroleum well bore, then there are disturbance of stress cells which are already there inside the well pore. So due to the disturbance in stress cell, it can become unstable and it may collapse. So we need to investigate and do some inventions about the well pore stability also. And talking about the cleanup fuels, so desulfurization is also important. How we can desulfurize and produce better fuels. And for more details, you can go to some websites of the top research institutes such as University of Tulsa, University of Aberdeen, and see what are the topics they're working on, and then you can get help in deciding what you want to work on. Okay, so
Okay.
that's it.
Sir, right now many undergraduate students are working on different research projects at college. So, but they don't know what is the process to publish their research on in a reputed journal. So, according to you, what is the process like to publish a research or to
Okay.
present the research?
So first of all, actually they don't need to worry about it because knowing the process is important, and I will tell about that. But it is usually taken care by the supervisor under which they're performing the research. So suppose if the students are working in a lab, then lab in charge will take care of the publication. But still, for the sake of knowledge, I'll share what is the all right. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is
So
visible.
see, first of all, you need to decide on which topic you are working on and where it can be published. So suppose you are exploring through various journals and you have found that energy and fuels is a relevant journal. So you can go through the uh, articles, like which kind of articles are published here, and if your topic is suitable for this journal or not. So you can go through this submit manuscript option, and there you will be provided with the guidelines, like how you can uh, submit your article, what is the procedure, and step by step various things are explained here. But this is regarding the submission of research article. But before that, you have to prepare a research article, and that is entirely another task. When you have conducted your research, you have written it, and after then you can go through the publication process. So first of all you need to register at the website of the publication in which you are going to submit your manuscript, and then they have a proper guide for the authors. Uh, ACS author, okay. So, okay, after you register here, there are instructions and forms available, and you can go through that. So,
Sure, sir.
just a minute. Can you repeat the question, please?
Like, sir, what they should do in order to publish their research in reputed journals like ACS
Okay,
and all.
okay, okay. All right. So,
That was the question.
uh, this is more about how choosing your topic and how performing your research, more than
Yes.
your submitting your article. Okay, all right. So for that, first of all, the quality of the research should be good. Like what is your topic, and most importantly, whenever you submit a research article, the reviewers first of all ask you one question, which is mandatory for all the research articles: what is the novelty? What have you done? If you are saying that you have done a research work, then what is special about it? Has it never been done previously, or currently being done by someone else? Is it novel or not? Like, what is the unique thing about your research, and why should it be published? Okay, so you have to think about, but only thinking would not be enough. First of all, you have to go through the literature and see what are the various research articles uh, reporting related to that topic. So this is called literature review. So excellent literature review helps us in finding out what is good and what can be done for your project. Okay, suppose for example you are trying to develop a polymer for your application in enhanced oil recovery, and someone has already published it 10 years ago, and you could not find that paper, but when you are going to submit it, then reviewer or publisher mentioning that this research has already been conducted, so there is nothing new. Okay, so these things happen, and therefore literature review is very important part of the research. So this is theoretical research. Then you will work in the laboratory. So precision is important. Whenever you are measuring the properties of performing the research, then there should be proper measurement, accurate results, and their uh, analysis of the data is very important. How you are analyzing and interpreting the data, that becomes very important. Like there are several ways of looking at a particular data. Okay, everyone has a different perspective. So if you are able to get a new perspective or a new insightful information from the data that you have obtained from the laboratory experiments, and you can deduce some new knowledge that can be added to the existing research field. So that is a quality research. Okay, and next thing is regarding preparation of manuscript. So high quality, accurate English and accurate grammar of that English is very important for the manuscript. Okay,
Okay.
and next thing is that whatever images or graphs that you have put in your manuscript, that should be of very high quality. Okay,
Yes.
so these factors, when combined together, will result in an excellent manuscript which can be submitted to a good journal and they will appreciate it.
Yes.
So it's more about the quality and the uh, accuracy of the results that
Research.
you are working on, whatever experiments.
Yes. So, sir, my next question is also connected to the previous question. Like, how one, like, what exactly one should do in order to present his or her research in a prestigious conferences, like you mentioned, ADI-PAC, and there are other conferences like IPTC also. So,
Okay.
what they should do?
Okay. All right. So, okay, I have already explained, I think,
Yes.
but the simplest answer to this question will be in demand, high quality research work and excellent writing. So I repeat again, in demand means which is trending nowadays, like carbon capture and utilization and storage. Then high quality research work, and there should be excellent writing. Sometimes what happens, people have done very good research work in the laboratory, but they're not able to report it in a good way. Okay, or
Yes, sir.
excellent way. So these all three things are important. That your idea should be novel and related to the current scenario, and then your quality of the research should be good, as well as the writing of the proposal that you are going to submit. It should also be very good. Okay. For example, when I started PhD, I was hoping to publish a paper in one of the reputed SP conferences, and even I tried for submitting abstract and my research proposal to various SP conferences for 2 years in the starting, and every time I got rejected. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so there were many reasons, legit reasons for that. There were sometimes, most of the times, the quality of the research work was not good because whatever important project I was working on, that were meant to be published in high quality journal papers. Okay, research articles in the peer-reviewed journals, not in the conferences. So I was not submitting quality work for the SP conference, but then I propose to present one project work on nanotechnology in drilling fluids. Nanotechnology is the emerging technology in petroleum engineering, and it's not fully accomplished. It's being developed for the petroleum industry. Okay, and so that topic was trending. Okay, and I also had 2.5 years of experience by that time, so the write-up became obviously excellent. And as per the instructions provided by the SPA style guide, whenever you are going to submit a uh, research article or the conference paper, always go through the style guide for that publisher, and then you will get it right before the submission. Okay, and it got accepted for EDIPAC 2019. That quality research work. Okay, and when the manuscript was ready, then my supervisor said this paper could have been easily published in a high impact journal paper, but you are going for the conference. And then I said, yeah, ma'am, but it was important for me to be part of one of SP conference paper, conferences. And
Yes.
really it was a very good experience to be there in ADIPEC. All right. So what is next question?
Sir, according to you, what should be the right time to pursue PhD? Just after BTech, or just after doing MTech?
Okay. This is also like it depends on situations, and it depends on the candidates who is going to do a PhD. But most importantly, it is a function of your motivation level. How motivated you are for doing a PhD is the first question that you should ask before opting for PhD. And next factors which are important are the opportunity, like what is the institute in which you'll be doing a PhD, and what is the topic on which you will be working, and supervisor, who is the supervisor, and are you already familiar with him or not, him or her? Okay, and your readiness. Your readiness means how sound your knowledge is on that topic which you are choosing for the PhD program. Okay, this is very important. If you do not have in-depth knowledge of that topic, then you might be struggling after starting your PhD. So you need to assess yourself. Where do you stand in the academics and research work? How much experience do you have to conduct research in laboratory or uh, writing the manuscript? This is all the part of PhD. You have to conduct experiments. You have to analyze the data. You have to report it, and you have to present it. So all these factors are important to assess your readiness level. Okay, and
Okay.
then the best way to understand yourself is to do research projects in your college and in some IITs, and even if you're getting the chance to get a research internship in foreign universities, that also be very good. And finally, consulting with your well-wishers who are the seniors in this domain. I mean, the research field. Okay,
Yes, sir.
you can consult with them and understand that what level you are. So if you are ready or almost ready after the BTech, then you can definitely go for it, and you should go for it, because
Yes, sir.
if you're already uh, prepared for the PhD program, then why waste 2 years for the MTech degree when ultimate goal is to get a PhD degree? Okay,
Yes.
but opting MTech or MS program helps in building the gap, research gap which you have. Suppose you have not worked on any research project, you have not uh, you have not presented any research paper in any conferences, or you have not written a journal article for the publication in peer reviewed journal, then you will not be ready. And in such a scenario, opting for master's program is very helpful, and uh, it builds a research attitude if you're not already familiar with the best practices for the researchers in lab or on your computer while you're analyzing the data and reporting your results. Okay, so you should be familiar with the tools used in research work, which include a number of software to and with strong knowledge in the topic of your research is also very important. Okay, so if you have already achieved these prerequisites, like I already explained at the start of this response, and you have published one or two quality research papers, be it in conference or journals, doesn't matter. If you have gone through the proper process of research, then it will be easy to get a good PhD offer just after the graduation.
Different scholarships available for undergraduate students to pursue research, and how one should build his profile in order to achieve them.
Okay, so let's first talk about the profile for the various scholarships. Okay,
Yes.
obviously, if you are looking for the research related scholarships, then you should have presented at least one of your research work in a reputed international conference. It doesn't matter where it is organized, be it in India or abroad, but you should have presented one of your research work in a conference. And then additionally, if you have at least one research article in a peer-reviewed journal, with good impact factor, not so high, but if it is 2 3 impact factor also, that's fine. At least one research article should be there. Okay. And also
Yes.
at undergraduate level, it doesn't matter what is the authorship for you. Like you can be third or fourth author in the list of authors for that paper, but it will be added to your profile, and it will be appreciated when you'll be applying for the scholarships. uh, and next thing is, this is means apart from these two, if you have some additional achievements related to research, like you have presented your poster somewhere, and you have been awarded with the first prize or second prize in the poster presentation, that will also help. So the key for building your profile for research opportunities is to take part in the activities related to research, which are conferences, workshops, and training programs on the research methodologies, as well as these journal publications. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And research internships will also be helpful if you're looking for a career in research post, means after the graduation. If you're looking for a career in research, then these research internships will be very helpful. But most important is the research articles. Okay. So if you can get 1 or 2 research articles in 4 year program, uh, or okay, like 2 3 years that you have after the first year is completed, then you can have a very good research profile. Okay.
Okay, sir.
But uh, talking about the first part, scholarships available. So this is a huge list, and it depends in which field you are applying for, and like there are various collaborations between the between India, our country, and various countries abroad, like Indo-Australian collaborations, Indo-German collaborations, such as DAAD program, which
Yes.
offers the students a chance to get research opportunities, funded research opportunities in Germany, and similarly for German students, they can come here and do research in India. Okay. So similarly, we have some Indo-US ties also, but you have to first sort out in which country you want to do research, and on what topic you are interested in working. Then you can explore through the websites of those institutes, as well as you can simply search through the keywords in Google search, and then you can get some useful links for the scholarships, available scholarships. And there are some keywords like PhD scholarships. If you search with this keyword, there will be various websites which will be listing various scholarship opportunities for the aspiring PhD students.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, sir, we see that most of the Indian students generally tend to go abroad for their higher studies and to pursue research. So, according to you, where is India lacking in terms of these research facilities and opportunities?
Okay. So to sum it up, kind of easy answer is the luxury, or the financial security that you will get during the research work. Suppose if you're doing a PDF, if you're working as a PDF in India, you'll be getting roughly around 55 to 70,000. But for the same job, you'll be getting paid like more than 3 lakhs per month. So that is a huge gap, and this motivates many people to perform the same work in outside India and get paid better. But on the as I said, infrastructure, this is also a very important factor, as we have started after the independence in 1947. We are continuously developing, and we are getting better day by day. But certainly, it has not been so much time like US or many other countries which are considered to be developed and having very good research infrastructure. They have also taken so much time, like 150 or 200 years. And on the other hand, India didn't have completed even the 100 years post independence. So obviously, there is a gap in the infrastructure, but we are covering it. But at the moment, I think the most important thing is uh, this gap in the pay and the research facilities. So, you know, if we look at the history of the development in countries where we see better infrastructure, it has taken them decades to develop such an infrastructure for research, which is also yielding a fortunes for those countries. But uh, as a nation, we have progressed remarkably, and the fact is that it is going to take some time. And okay,
Okay.
I think that that's enough.
Okay, sir. So, what after PhD? After successfully pursuing PhD, what are the
Correct.
different career prospects or different career streams we can go to? Like,
Okay.
yes,
In my opinion,
yes,
if you're doing a PhD, that's just a start for your research career. Okay. So that means you are interested in research, and that's why you are opting for PhD. There should not be any other reason when you are going to do a PhD. Okay.
yes, sir.
So, but that research can be in any kind of environment. It can be in an industrial setup, like working for a major oil and gas player such as Schlumberger, Halliburton, Baker Hughes, or you can you, you can be doing research in an academic setup such as RGIPT or IITs in India. Okay, and various some of the R&D laboratories are also government owned, which are not part of the industry, but they are providing support to the domestic industries. So, after PhD, you have one direction, which is further research, in my opinion. But you can opt out from the research and get a government job in teaching position in India, but that will also require you to at least supervise some of the research scholars. This is my perspective. Many people might not be agree with me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So next question.
Sir, I think I'm done with all my questions, and
Okay.
it was a really wonderful session, and it was really wonderful to have you with us, sir.
Yeah. One
Thank
more
you
thing I
so
would
much.
like to add
Yes, sir.
is that when you start preparing your manuscript, the use of various softwares for image processing and referencing is very important. So you should be good with image editing and image processing and graph preparation and as well as this referencing software such as EndNote and Mendeley. Mendeley is free and you can use that, as well as the programming languages also help a lot. Like if you have very good knowledge of Python and other programming languages, then it will be very helpful uh, to for your research work. Okay, so with
Okay.
that, I wish you all a very happy New Year, and
Same to you, sir.
it's that's it. Thank